Ladies and gentlemen, it's Spoilerin time. Today we are going to spoil episode 2 of season 7 of The Shield. We are going to spoil episodes 5 through 8 of Mr. Robot. So I hope you're caught up. Brian has heard your calls, and we are going to talk about it. And of course, we'll keep you up to date on why I'm going to lose the movie draft. But Brian Brushwood, Hammond Chamberlain's going to stick around and get spoiled with us.
Dude, an honest-to-goodness live Spoilerin right now. But first, let's spoil your hopes and dreams for winning the summer movie draft. Tom, it was a noble effort. You made it all the way. You are the first place loser of the whole bunch. We got crushed by the Jurassic World and the Team Cordkillers. Congratulations to Christy and Malongo. One more time, man. Nobody, not one slate, has defeated the single movie of Jurassic World, which is absolutely amazing to me.
Yeah, I probably will see Team DTNS pass Jurassic World all alone next week, but that's cold comfort. I'm hoping someone can find all the times people were mocking me when I said it wasn't a sure thing for DTNS to win the season.
We've gone over this a few times, but yes, we thought you broke the game and ruined it, and we wanted to take our ball and go home. But we were wrong.
Malongo and Christie broke the game.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, actually, they exactly correctly played the game, because what they did was they recognized an undervalued, high-risk, high-reward opportunity, and they went for it, and they nailed it. They did very, very well. Also, in the Chat Realm League, again, I'm just always astonished that there's not more ties. Jedi Wing Knight is currently in first place with Furious 7, Jurassic World, Max Pixels, Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation. I think he might run away with it. I can't see anything.
How does he have more money than J.W. Morrison, who has the exact same movies?
Because he has
Pixels
Vacation.
instead of Vacation.
Oh, yeah, he says Pixels and Vacation.
That's right. Pixels did better than Vacation.
All right. Got it.
Wow.
Got it. I was not seeing that difference there. There you go. That is crazy.
Dude, I'll tell you what, I love that there's just this rage-inducing game that we care so deeply about. It's quick recommendation. We talk about it all the time, but go to Netflix, go to Amazon, and watch the ESPN sports documentary on their 30 for 30 series. Watch Silly Little Game, because it's as though they made a documentary of our movie draft, only it's called Fantasy Baseball.
Sunbun in the chat room says that the best player who does not have Jurassic World is ranked 72nd.
That's your ticket, people. You needed to be on that hype train for Jurassic World.
They picked the right movie.
They did.
That's all there is to it.
Do you want to?
All right.
All I can say is going forward, I want to be involved in this next time.
Oh, sorry, Hammond.
I just to say next time I want to be involved with this.
Absolutely.
By hook or crook, I'm in.
All right, let's move on to spoiling Mr. Robot. You finally caught up, Brian, episodes 5 through 8. And honestly, I mean, there's stuff to talk about at 5, 6, and 7, but can we just jump to the revelations in 8?
Yeah. Just real quick analysis. It's funny. It's dense. It's a dense show. It's a gorgeous show. It's thematic. You know, I've called it Fight Club the series, and I just feel it more and more. Again, not for any specific similarity to Fight Club, but the disjointed way, the jarring way of having an unreliable narrator just takes you on a roller coaster ride where everything's up for grabs. And here's what's interesting is as we go into episode 8, I did not realize until the end how many questions I'm deeply interested in, because the big reveal that we get in episode 8 is Darlene is Elliot's sister. And that moment all of a sudden throws into stark contrast so many things that you think are happening. When Darlene and Angela are in the room together, you think, oh, love triangle, because Elliot likes Angela and is protective of her. But instead, you're like, no, it's not a love triangle at all. It's
protective older sister.
Correct. It's protective older sister. Because we're familiar with the old TV trope of if a beautiful woman lets herself into your house, gets naked, hops in your shower, clearly she wants to have sex with you. And so when he walks in and she freaks out out that he's seen her in the shower. He's like, ooh, get out of here. Like, that just feels like a stark rebuff that makes no sense. But again, that's exactly what you would expect from the sister. And that moment, again, this is the beauty of our flawed narrator. He hears the words, I love you, and goes in for a kiss. And then she's like, you forgot again, didn't you? I'm your sister. What a great moment. And of course, the cherry on top is not so much by this point, by episode 8, you feel the fight clubbiness of it, that, everyone is like, well, Mr. Robot can't be real, or is he real, or what is he? As you see the family pictures, you pans across and you see a younger Christian Slater in the family portraits, meaning that either Mr. Robot is a manifestation of a father figure, a stepfather figure, or someone that's in his family, bringing up the intriguing...
No, I mean, they've said in post-TV show interviews that Mr. Robot is Elliot's father.
Okay, but does he exist? He could still be in his head because of all the weirdness they do about... Again, it's great. It's more layers.
I feel like he has to exist. And I can't remember all of the instances now, so I'm not going to be able to defend this feeling, but I feel like I have seen scenes where it is very clear that it would be a total cheat if they decided that he wasn't real later, because Elliot isn't anywhere near Mr. Robot interacting with someone else. But that aside, I don't think that Mr. Robot being real or not is even my central interest anymore. Well, it becomes a much bigger question of what is real to Elliot. Like, what of all of these other things that we've seen have just been Elliot's misinterpretation, right? I mean, they gave us a tip. They showed us that all of a sudden E-Corp becomes Evil Corp because Elliot wanted it to be called that and was called it by everything and everyone. Although I don't know if you noticed in episode 6 and 7, a couple of E-Corp names slip through somehow. And I couldn't figure out the significance of that. But I think it's just trying to show us that this isn't beyond just unreliable narrator. This is unreliable perspective. Like, we don't know anything was real for Elliot yet.
Exactly. Well, and not only, we've been able to blame, like, okay, this is Elliot's flawed perspective, but then by pivoting, like, what if the game is not whether or not this guy is real or not, but the question is, whose point of view are we seeing this from at this moment, And by the way, one more thing about the Mr. Robot being Elliot's dad, how much does that alter that sequence when they're sitting on the boardwalk and he confesses that, he betrayed his dad's trust in order to do that, and his dad, whether physical manifestation of him or in Elliot's head, he's talking to his dad about his dad, and his dad just pushes him off and sends him to the hospital. Fascinating, and I can ride this for so long because the character studies and the moodiness, I'm just in love with, and I'm becoming obsessed with Tyrell. I think Tyrell's my favorite character now. The guy who's trying to be CTO, who appears to murder the other CTO's wife because him and his Swedish bride.
I don't think he appeared to. I mean, he murdered her.
Well,
he seems
the
a
cops
lot
are
like
investigating a
Patrick
murder
Bateman.
of her. Like, what's to be appeared?
Okay, well, they said I guess they do say there's a body, but again, I'm just on guard. I'm on guard for anything, I'm trying to figure out.
This is the kind of show that does that to you. Yeah,
but and plays it beautifully. And I've gotten to the point, I just adore the cinematography. Here's a fun game for all of you guys to do. And I don't normally notice this kind of things, but conversations with Brant got me thinking about it. Conversations always feel disjointed because the reverse shot is completely broken. Faces are always looking into the corner. The half of every scene is headroom above them, and there's so much you don't get to see that puts it so off kilter, so off putting. I'm just loving it. It's great.
Yeah. Hammond, you've been spoiled now. How do you feel?
I feel very excited to find out how it all unfolds. But my comment about Tyrell is that he really reminds me of Patrick, American Psycho. Patrick Bateman, is that his name?
No, American Psycho. I don't remember the character's name, but it's Batman. It's
Yeah. He very much looks like one of those. He's channeling that character because he's this brutal businessman who seems to be trapped up in all those things that he did. I keep waiting for him to put plastic down and talk about Huey Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick Bateman is the name of the character. That's right.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to why I'm on 6, I think. So I've got 2 to catch up to this revelation you guys gave me, which actually made my head hurt just a little bit when you said it. So I'm actually really excited to see how it pans out.
Well, it'll be fun for you to experience the next couple of episodes and see those moments where there's a dual. Magicians call it a dual reality. When you have someone on stage that you need to manipulate into saying or thinking a certain thing, you will very carefully craft your sentences so that the audience clearly hears you say one thing, but with the knowledge that the person on stage has, they clearly hear a different set of directions. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes with you. Yeah, man, that's amazing.
Cool. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, let's go into The Shield, Season 7, Episode 2, called Snitch. The mayor of Los Angeles puts out a most wanted list for gangs, which Vic Mackey and friends think just means that gangs will start trying to kill more people and each other to get higher up on the list. And, of course, that starts happening. There's a nice procedural story arc about a gang who didn't realize that one of its younger members was trying to impress by killing white people that were visiting the Farmington neighborhood. And so they have to stop a couple of murders. And you have a really compelling scene with the young gang member who has no regrets. Is a little bit stupid in ignoring his lawyer and saying things that he shouldn't, but is also can't be talked to, doesn't respond to anyone, including Wims, who usually is pretty good with witnesses, just breaks all the rules, which I thought was fascinating. And at the same time, you've got the continuing bubbling under Armenian controversy that is way out of control. And Vic is very at Shane, and Shane feels like, oh, you've helped me. You helped me fix this part of the problem. And Vic says, no, we're not good. I'm doing this because I have to.
Well, this is it's
breaking a lot of.
Oh, I was going to say it's a bit of a trapped in an elevator episode where it's like, I don't like you, you don't like me, but it's in both of our interests to get this
But there's
thing.
that great scene when they get out of the elevator and Shane's like, so we're cool now because we were trapped in the elevator. And Vic's like, no, we were just trapped in the elevator, man.
Yeah.
That's all there's to it.
Exactly. And it was amazing to see Wims get played. Wims fell for a 13-year-old, got the better of her, got her into a headspace where she's dropping the N-word and just telling, and because she's so disgusted, because she understands the larger, racial world that we live in and the baggage that comes with his behavior and his word uses and just lets him have it kind of in a grandma kind of way, and then gets in trouble for it. And then apparently he's like, well, now the lawyer's got something on you because you were verbally abusive and you said the N-word to this kid.
And it's one of those situations, too, where the actual words that she used were not abusive and would probably not be considered abusive in a court of law, but it doesn't matter.
Right. It's at the end of the day,
she's actually said and what could potentially play out if this whole thing played out doesn't matter because the city is like, no, we're not going to let that play out. We don't have time for that. We're not going to devote resources to that. We're not going to give press to that. That is just going to be bad news for everybody. So sorry, Wims, you're going to have to hang out to dry on this one.
You didn't see a lot of action on the Wagenbach and what's his new partner's name?
Billings.
Yeah. Wagenbach Billings doesn't really go anywhere outside of this simmering. Well, I'm just waiting for Wagenbach to punch him at this point.
Billings has his moment where he actually steps up and does something, right? And that seems to be what the storyline there is. Wagenbach is tired of him, but Billings actually got the job because he's decent at it. He just won't work at it. And so, every once in a while, Billings can show that, well, I could do the job, which is even more infuriating.
So the weird part, here's what I thought as I watched it. I luckily have already seen the entire series and I know the larger context and I have the double advantage of knowing where things are going. But man, if you just dropped someone into the middle of the show right around now, I don't see how anyone who doesn't have 6 seasons of backstories and machinations and the chess game being played, really getting a lot out of the show. It's
Yeah, because there's little pieces like Vic's wife confronting him about what Shane told her and him having to try to come up with a way to appease her that don't get a lot of attention in this episode. But as a 6-year veteran, you don't need a lot of attention. You're like, yep, needed to see that. Definitely know where she stands now. Okay, put that aside for a future episode because that's going to blow up.
This was kind of a bit of a place-setting episode again, in that there were stark reminders that he has not weaseled out of this one. He just got a delay of 30 more days before it's going to come to a head. So essentially sort of a reset where it's like he's got his badge for only so long, though. I'm really excited now that we're in the final trenches here.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to be in the home stretch. I know that feeling that you had, and it's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to dole this out an episode a week, even though it's not exactly the same as jumping season to season. Is I really am feeling that desire to savor these final episodes because I know they're going to be the last ones.
Yes. Well, and that delightful feeling of not knowing how it ends is going to go away. People in the chat real quick are just begging me to give just a quick 1 minute on Rick and Morty. Hammond, do you watch Rick and Morty?
No, I don't, and I think I feel like I need to.
Oh, it's so good.
You definitely need to.
I've told this before. I tried for months to get Justin to watch it, and finally, once he laid eyes on it, within the first 5 minutes, he was like, "Well, why didn't you just tell me it's a better, tighter version of Doctor Who?" And then once you get that, you'll love it. And in this case, speaking of trapped in an elevator episode, this is a episode where there's a parasite among the family, and holy crap, is it dense. Holy crap, does it move quickly. It is brilliant writing. And there are times that they clearly give a middle finger to the convention of making any kind of believable names for things or whatever. There's a character called Mr. Poopy Butthole that shows up at some point, and it's just great. It's a great episode. I loved it. It may be my favorite of the season.
I can't wait to finish it. You guys were kind enough to show me the first few minutes, which are insane. And just in those first 5 minutes that I got to watch, I would call it the best episode of Rick and Morty yet.
Yeah. All right, I guess that's it, man.
That is it. Hammond Chamberlain, thank you again for hanging out and getting spoiled, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to hang out for a little bit longer.
Remind the kind folks where they can find more of you.
I host a show called Beyond the Playlist with J Hammond C, and you can find me on Grumpy Cat. You can find me at J Hammond C on Twitter. I also host Grumpy Cast with Daryl Skills.
Oh, go watch Grumpy Cast too, or listen to Grumpy Cast. You guys are great at that too. Love Daryl; he's fantastic. And that is it. We will spoil you again next week, my friends.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.